Alrighty, guys, welcome back. It's your host, Tiny Jester, Sentinels of the Multiverse, Enhanced Edition, Hero Tutorial number 21. Try and say that 3 times fast. Woo! Parse. She will be the last hero from the Vengeance box, and probably the last hero we'll do tonight. So, we got all 5 of the heroes done. She just happens to be the last one we're going to do. And so now it's time to cover and look at Parse, the last hero from Vengeance. Alrighty, and yep, remove that, so I'm going to have to add it again. There we go. Alright, so Kim Howell is Parse, and you can read her information again. Watching on YouTube, you can always pause this, read through the information about how she became superpowered. In fact, she's genetic and learned. Alright, so let's take a look at her 26 hit points. Not a lot of hit points to start with. And she has pinpoint shot power. Parse deals 1 target, 2 projectile damage. And one player may draw a card. One player may shuffle their trash into their deck and reveal the top card of the villain deck, then replace it. And this is a really cool artwork there for her. If you read her background story and about how she's all about calculating and figuring out the numbers and probability of everything, and it's kind of taken over her at this point now. And she cannot get rid of it. So anyways, Parse. She does have a variant, which is Fugal State. So neutral processing power. Play the bottom card of your deck. If you discarded a card this turn, one other player may play the bottom card of their deck. And when she gets knocked out, destroy an ongoing card. One player may draw a card, select a hero. On their next turn, you may take their play, power, and draw phase in any order. Well, cool. So there you go. That is good artwork on that as well. She's got some good artwork. So again, only one variant that I've got unlocked. There might be others that I just don't have unlocked. Let's take a look at her cards. She does come with 16 different cards in her deck. So not a lot of variety, but I mean, 16 is pretty decent. Alright, and let's take a look at what she's got. So, between the lines, 3 copies of this card. It's a one-shot. One hero may use a power now. Anyone that can give other heroes... I mean, how many times have we said this during this tutorial series? Oh, this character would love to have, somebody give him a chance to play a power. Like Haka right there. There's Haka right there. One hero may use a power now. If that power deals damage, that damage is irreducible. And there's not a lot of ways in the game to make damage irreducible. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. 3 copies of that card. 2 copies of Buffer Overflow, ongoing card. When a villain card would enter play, you may discard it instead and destroy this card. And when this card is destroyed, you draw a card and play the top card of the villain deck. So you get a one you don't like, you discard it, you discard rid of this card, you get to draw a card, but you do have to play another card from the villain deck and hope it's not as bad as the one you did. But we'll see later, we'll be able to really fine-tune what the villain can play against you here in a minute. So 2 copies of that. We have 3 copies of Critical Multiplier. It's an ongoing card. Whenever you discard a card from hand, you're going to select a hero target and increase the next damage by that target by 1. And this is an ongoing card, so it just stays out there in play. So every time she does this, she can do that. And you're going to see why in a little bit. Data mining. There are 3 copies of this card. It's a one-shot. If there are 2 or more villain ongoing cards in play, you may destroy one of them. If there are 2 or more environment cards in play, you may destroy one of them. So she can destroy as long as they have 2 or more ongoing cards and environment cards, and both of them. That is, again, restricted because you need to have 2 of them in play and 2 environment cards in play. But if there is, she can destroy not only a villain ongoing card, but also an environment card. That's pretty crazy. But again, it is situational because you need to have 2 ongoing cards and 2 environment cards. Exploit vulnerability. Ongoing card. Whenever a non-hero target enters play, you increase damage dealt to that target by 1 until the start of the environment turn. That can be super good. Super important when things come into play. You only have that 1 turn. If you're trying to keep board control, doing extra damage against those characters that are coming out are very important. Exploit weakness. 2 copies of that card. 2 copies of extrasensory awareness. Ongoing card. It's a power. Reveal the top 3 cards of the villain deck. Discard one of them and put the other 2 back in any order. And you may shuffle the villain deck. So this is super powerful because why? Because you can set up the next 2 cards that the villain's going to play. And you can discard one of them. And one thing we have never seen in any other character, if you don't like any of these cards, you can actually shuffle the villain deck. It is optional. So if you look at the top 3 cards and they're all horrible, terrible, you can shuffle them and hopefully get something better. But she can definitely, of all the cards that I've come across so far, this is the most powerful card in manipulating what the enemy can do to you. Because not only do you get to manage, you get to get rid of one of the cards you don't like, and then the other 2 you get to set back in any order. That's huge. And so you don't need to do this every turn. You can only do it every once in a while. All right, so there's 2 copies of that card. There is 2 copies of Gauge Ongoing Power. Reveal the top card of a deck. Put it on the top or bottom of the deck, and you may draw a card. So you can help other characters trying to get, or other heroes trying to find what cards are coming in or out. You can find out what cards are coming to the environment deck. Really good card there. Impossible Shot. It's a one-shot. Parse deals 1 target 3 irreducible projectile damage. And then she draws a card. Not bad. 3 damage. Irreducible. They can have damage reduction. Doesn't matter. Irreducible. And then draw an extra card. Not bad. 3 copies. 3 copies of Quick Calculation. One shot. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Put 1 in the bottom of your deck and the other 2 in your hand. Good way to find better cards to put into play. 3 copies of this card. Next up, 3 copies of Recompile. It's a one-shot. Discard up to 3 cards. Discard, wait a minute. Didn't we talk about this? Oh, yeah. If you have this card in play, anytime you discard a card, you can select a hero target, and that hero is going to get increased damage next time they deal damage. Oh, look. I can discard up to 3 cards. And I can draw twice as many cards as I discarded. Plus, if I have that other card in play, yeah, I can give all my allies extra damage. That sounds pretty good. 3 copies of that. Reveal the flaws. Ongoing. Damage dealt by hero targets is irreducible. Huh. That seems really good. Having damage that's not reducible. At the start of your turn, you destroy this card. So, yeah, you have to pick your rounds to use this card, but it can definitely help, especially if you're doing things like recompiling with the critical multiplier. 3 copies of that card in play, or three copies of that card in her deck. 2 copies of Segmentation Fault. It's an ongoing power. Discard a card. Oh, wait, discard a card. We already looked at that. If you do, you may destroy an ongoing or environment card. So that's pretty good because, yeah, she's got ways to give people extra damage. She can destroy ongoing and environment cards. 2 copies of ongoing limited snap decision. At the start of your turn, you may discard a card. If you do, play a card. Not only that, but give, again, if she has critical multiplier, she'll be giving other heroes extra damage as well. Static Analysis. 1 shot, and it's got all the characters from the Vengeance expansion. It's got Mainstay and Dr. Medico and the Environmentalist and Setback, Parse. There's Knife, there's the Naturalist, and there's Wraith. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Well, I was wondering if they were missing somebody, but they aren't. So 2 copies of this card, 1 shot. Select a player. That player reveals the top 2 cards of their deck. They may play, draw, or discard each of those cards in any order. And that is super good because a lot of other heroes allow them to draw cards. There's other heroes that allow you to play cards. She allows you to either draw those cards or play these cards or discard those cards. Whatever you want to do with them, you do with them. That's crazy good. That is crazy good. Like, you may play, draw, or discard these cards in any order, too. So she could draw 1, then discard 1. I mean, she can give this ability to, Tempest, and she can discard those cards so that she can, put a whole bunch of cards in her discard pile. Then she can also give this power to Haka, who wants to keep drawing cards because he's got to discard cards for his Haka powers. This is crazy good, and it works for every character because it's play, draw, or discard in any order. Crazy good power. 3 copies of Targeting Arrow. 3 copies. It's a 1 shot. Parse deals 1 target, 1 irreducible projectile damage, and increased damage dealt to that target by 1 until the start of your next turn. So that's pretty good too. So she's targeting enemies. You're going to do extra damage to them. You might be doing extra damage because of this. She's a really good support character. Finally, 2 cards for updated intel. It's an ongoing limited power. Whenever a villain card enters play, you reveal the bottom card of a deck. Then either put it in the bottom or the top of the deck. So again, she could mitigate what's coming out in the environment or mitigate what's coming out in the villain deck, or she can help allies and heroes try to find cards that they're looking for. And so, yep, a good way to do that. So she has got some crazy overpowered cards. I don't think they realized when they were designing her, giving her all these extra things. She is a really good, what I'm going to call a support character, because she doesn't do much herself. She's just really good at preventing the enemies from doing a lot of bad, nasty, awful, terrible, stupid things. Getting your allies to do lots of cool, awesome, very special, very cool things. but she doesn't actually do a lot for damage. She doesn't do a lot of healing. She doesn't do a lot of anything for herself. She has a little bit of damage, but she's really good at adding damage between this power, exploiting vulnerability, updating intel, critical multiplier. Between the lines, having another hero use a power and making that power irreducible damage is super, super good. She's just a really good all-around support character that does a lot of really, really powerful things. Unfortunately, she doesn't do a lot of damage for herself. She doesn't do a lot of healing. She doesn't do a lot of super cool things for herself. She's just mitigating what the enemies can do and kind of buffing your allies. So if she plays with some really good other characters, then she becomes really, really good, like a support character does. If she plays with other mediocre characters, then she just becomes mediocre, because you can't buff a mediocre character, and make them that much better. So, it's just, she doesn't have very much hard things to worry about. She's just going about her business, doing some things, discarding some cards, which, she can draw back up very quickly. There is a lot of remembering, okay, this target we get extra damage on because it entered, it's this one over here. Whenever non-hero target enters play, when we attack it, we're going to get an extra point of damage on it. Oh, don't forget, I've given you a +1 because I discarded a card earlier. And so there's a lot of remembering all the pluses and minuses that she's giving out. And that's why getting the enhanced edition with the tokens is so important, because those tokens, you're going to be using them with Parse a lot. Because she does a lot of really cool things. Again, she does 3 irreducible damage, which is not a lot, but it's great when you're going up against somebody that's like can't take damage, or is immune to damage. I think that's why Ambuscade is there, because he goes invisible and he can't be damaged. Well, this is irreducible damage, so I think he can be if it's. I'm pretty sure that's why he's there. Anyways, irreducible damage is great, and making your allies irreducible damage is great, and having other heroes to activate powers and giving them cool things to do, and discarding cards to give them buffs. I mean, yeah, she's not going to be doing a ton of damage, but she's going to be doing a lot of cool things that are going to help your other heroes really make really good, really fine-tune their turns. So she's one of these characters. Depends on who she goes with. She can be really, really good for the group, making that group really rounded, really do really cool things. She's got some of the craziest. I mean, select a player, have that player reveal the top 2 cards of their deck, and then they can play, draw, or discard them in any order. They look at 2 cards, they can play both of them, they can discard both of them, they can put one into play, they can keep one in their hand, whatever they want to do. It's like, you don't see that very much in this game at all. Like, giving players complete option what they can do with the cards is, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't play it. There are some characters that I think would rather have some cards in their discard pile as opposed to in play, especially depending on which villain you're playing against. If you're playing against a villain that likes to damage characters with cards in play, then maybe you won't want to put them in play and you can put them in your hand instead. This card, crazy good. You can mitigate the top 2 cards of what the villain's going to be doing. This is crazy good because a lot of times, a lot of other heroes can look at the top card and decide if it wants to be on top or not. You're going to get 3 cards. You're going to discard the worst of the 3 cards, and then you're going to put the other 2 back in any order you want. And then if that still doesn't work out, you can still shuffle the deck. She's super good, super helpful. Again, if you like being a support character, if you like helping other characters, you like buffing other characters, you like doing crazy nonsensical things, she's a great character for you to have. But again, if the other characters aren't doing anything and the other villains are, constantly getting rid of all their upgrades and doing all that, and you're not giving them enough buffs, this could be a very weak, it could end up being a very weak party, and the whole party gets wiped out because, they're not able to do what they need to do, and you can't help them very much. Again, she does have some ways to mitigate the ongoing cards and the villain ongoing cards, the environment cards. It is kind of situational, but still very, very powerful because she can do both, which is insane. She's very strong as a support character. Not very strong with doing damage or healing or anything like that, but just very strong support. And if you're looking for a strong support character, look no farther than Parse. She's definitely well worth bringing to a group, especially a very strong group with a couple very strong characters. You don't obviously want to have a group of just support characters, and her doesn't really work out very well. But if you're going against a very tough enemy that likes damage reduction, she's great. She can make all your attacks non-reducible. And you can get through these tough enemies much quicker, much better, much faster. Parse, very interesting, good character. And the last one from the Vengeance expansion that we're going to be looking at. So thanks everyone for watching. Have any thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions, leave them down in the comments section down below. Until then, my friends, you take care of yourselves, have a great night, and we'll see you next time. Until then, take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.